Good evening and welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Whether you've come to this space to relax, to gently let go of the day, or to drift off into a peaceful night's sleep, you're in just the right place. Tonight, I'll be guiding you through a quiet, rain-kissed journey. One that takes us back in time to the misty streets of 19th century Paris, where gas lamps flicker in golden halos, and tucked down a sleepy little lane, a warm bookshop awaits us, filled with the scent of old pages and secrets waiting to be rediscovered. It's the perfect night to lose yourself in soft lighting, worn wooden shelves, and the gentle patter of rain tapping against the glass. Before we begin our story, let's take a moment to ease into this moment fully and allow your mind and body to settle. Wherever you are right now, gently close your eyes and feel the surface beneath you. Let it hold you completely and effortlessly. Now, take a slow, gentle breath in through your nose and let it out just as slowly. A breath that says, I am safe. I am home. Let's do that again. Inhale, softly, easily, and exhale, letting go of any tension you might still be holding on to. With each breath, feel yourself sinking a little deeper into calm, a little further away from the noise of the day, and closer to the cozy, quiet corners of the story that awaits. Tonight we'll step into a different world, a gentler time, where nothing is rushed, and even the rain has a rhythm that soothes the soul. So, whenever you're ready, let's begin our journey. With the sound of the rain as our companion, and the flicker of lanterns lighting the path ahead, we're about to visit a rainy evening at a 19th century Parisian bookshop. Now that your breath has softened and your body feels a little lighter, let's allow your imagination to gently open. Picture this. It's early evening in Paris. The year is 1872. The sun has dipped low behind the grey rooftops, hidden by a thick quilt of clouds. The rain has been falling for some time now, not a stormy downpour, but a quiet, rhythmic drizzle that seems to wash the city in silver. You stand on a narrow, cobbled street. The stones beneath your shoes are slick and glistening, each one reflecting a bit of the dim yellow light from the nearby gas lamps. Their flickering flames are protected behind glass, glowing like sleepy stars. The lamps hum softly in the mist, casting shadows that stretch and sway like poetry on the stones. Umbrellas bloom around you like quiet black flowers. Horses' hooves echo in the distance, steady, gentle, unhurried. A passing carriage rolls by, wheels hissing softly as they move through puddles, and the sound of soft rain fills your ears, soothing, as though the whole city is whispering just to you. The air carries the aroma of chimney smoke and wet leaves, of rain-soaked roses from a flower stand nearby, and freshly baked bread from a boulangerie closing its shutters for the night. You take a step forward. The hem of your coat brushes against your ankles. A soft breeze carries a lock of your hair across your cheek, and then, just ahead, you see it. A small storefront tucked between two taller buildings, its windows fogged slightly from the warmth inside. A wooden sign swings gently above the door. It reads in simple lettering, Librairie du ciel oublié, the bookshop of the forgotten sky. A golden glow spills out through the window panes, like the flicker of candlelight or the pages of an old book brought to life. And there, for a moment, you simply stand in the rain, breathing in the scent of the city, listening to the rhythm of the drops, and gazing at this curious little shop. That seems to be calling you in. You step toward the door, and the sound of the street fades behind you, replaced by the promise of warmth, of stories yet untold, and a peaceful evening ahead. The building before you is small and humble, its stone facade softened by time. The shutters are painted a faded shade of blue-gray, their edges chipped lovingly by years of opening and closing with the weather. They frame two narrow windows, each glowing with a soft amber light from within. Above the door, a modest tin awning offers just enough shelter from the drizzle. You pause beneath it for a moment, not in any rush, just taking it all in. The rain taps gently on the metal above your head, creating a delicate music, a lullaby of the city. The sound is soft and even, like fingers drumming quietly on a wooden table. A soothing rhythm that slows your thoughts, quiets your breath, and makes your shoulders relax just a little more. You lean closer to one of the windows and peer inside, and there it is, a world wrapped in golden light. Shelves of books from floor to ceiling, some perfectly stacked, others resting in gentle chaos, leaning against one another as though in conversation. The shop glows like a lantern in the night. It looks safe, familiar somehow, as if it's been waiting for you. On the door, you notice a small brass bell, and just beside it, an old wooden placard with painted letters that read, "Open for those who seek shelter in stories." You smile, because that's exactly what you're seeking tonight. Shelter, not just from the rain, but from the noise of the world, from the pace of the day, from the weight of too many thoughts. This place, it promises something slower, quieter, softer, a place where time itself seems to have curled up in a chair with a blanket and fallen asleep beside the fire. You take a deep breath in, the cool evening air filling your lungs, and you place your hand on the old iron handle. The door creaks gently as it opens, and a bell above you rings, softly, clearly, like the opening note of a song only you were meant to hear. You step inside, and the door closes behind you with a hushed click, sealing the world outside, as the warmth of the bookshop wraps around you like a woolen shawl. The moment the door clicks shut behind you, the sound of the rain becomes a gentle echo, distant, like a lullaby you've carried with you into a dream. The warmth here is immediate and comforting. It smells of old paper, soft wood, and a hint of something floral, perhaps lavender or dried rose petals tucked into the corners of forgotten shelves. Your footsteps fall quietly on the creaking wooden floor. Each plank beneath your shoes whispers of age and stories, as though the very bones of the building remember every person who's ever stepped inside. The space is cozy, wider than it looked from outside, yet intimate, like the inside of a storybook. There's a golden hue to everything, a soft glow from the low gas lamps mounted on the walls, and the many candles placed in brass holders scattered across the room. Rows and rows of shelves rise around you, tall wooden structures, slightly uneven from years of use. They lean together, forming gentle aisles, little canyons of calm, filled with books of every kind. Leather-bound volumes with gilded titles, slim paperbacks with delicate fonts, journals with cracked spines, and handwritten notes scribbled in the margins. Each book a world of its own, waiting patiently for someone to return to its pages. In one corner of the shop, there's a round table with a worn green reading lamp. A single cup of tea rests beside a pair of wire-rimmed glasses, as if someone had stepped away just moments ago. A plump velvet chair sits beside the fire. The flames flicker lazily in the hearth, casting moving shadows across the rug, deep reds and faded golds woven into soft patterns. A ticking sound draws your ear to a small wall clock, its pendulum swaying in gentle rhythm, each tick like a heartbeat in a story without urgency. You take a few more steps, your fingers trailing along the spines of books as you go, each one a whisper, a welcome. Then you hear it, a soft rustle from the back room, followed by the slow creak of a floorboard, and from behind a curtain of beaded strings, a figure emerges. The beads part with a soft clatter like tiny wooden raindrops, and from behind them steps a quiet figure, an older man, perhaps in his late 60s, with a neatly kept white beard and a long woolen waistcoat buttoned all the way up to his collar. His eyes, they are the first thing you notice. Soft, grey and kind, as if he spent his entire life reading stories of wonder, and now sees the world through their lens. He pauses when he sees you, not surprised but curious, as though you were a book he's found unexpectedly on a high shelf, one he hadn't read yet, but somehow always hoped to. A warm smile rises gently on his face. "Bonsoir," he says softly, his voice low and even, with the rich timbre of a violin playing in a candlelit room. "Welcome. You've come in from the rain, I see." You nod, a quiet smile of your own finding its way across your lips. He continues, his tone like silk on the air. "You're welcome to stay as long as you like. There's tea on the stove, and the best books tend to find the right reader, especially on rainy nights." He turns slightly, gesturing toward the shelves. "You see, this place, it's not just a bookshop," he says as he walks slowly beside you. his steps making no more noise than the turning of a page. It's a kind of harbor, a resting place for thoughts that need quiet, for hearts that have been hurrying too long. As he speaks, you feel your shoulders soften again. The air itself seems to hush, like the shop is listening too. The bookkeeper gently places a small folded blanket on the chair near the fire, and then pours you a cup of warm tea from a ceramic pot, steam rising, carrying the scent of chamomile and mint. He hands you the cup with both hands, carefully, reverently, like he's handing you something sacred. And then he says, with a voice full of centuries and starlight, "Take your time, let the book speak to you, you'll know the one when it calls." With that, he disappears once more behind the curtain of beads, leaving you alone in the golden hush, with your tea warming your hands, and the shelves waiting, each one a door to somewhere quiet, somewhere gentle, somewhere timeless. You cradle the warm teacup in your hands. Its porcelain is delicate but strong, like something made with care and used for many years. Each sip is gentle, herbal, the kind of warmth that doesn't just stay in your mouth. It spreads outward, through your throat into your chest until even your fingertips feel a little less cold. You take a slow breath in, and the smell of paper and lavender lingers softly in the air. The bookshop stretches around you like a cocoon, its corners shadowed in the kindest way, as though each one holds secrets too shy to speak, until you're truly ready to listen. You begin to wander slowly down one of the narrow aisles, your hand trailing along the wooden shelves. The books feel alive in their stillness. Each spine whispers a name, a story, a world. Here, an ancient poetry collection with golden leaf along its edges, the kind of book that would have sat on a drawing room table beside a vase of peonies. There, a collection of sea tales, tales of old lighthouses, ships lost to fog, and messages in bottles never meant to be found. The titles aren't loud. They don't demand your attention. They invite you, like a gentle knock on a familiar door, asking if you've got a little time to hear something beautiful. You pass shelves marked with small handwritten signs, letters never sent, forgotten cities, dreams of other lives. In one corner, you find a small curious section titled Books That Have Waited. The shelf holds only a handful of volumes, each one different. Some are plain, some are wrapped in silk string. One has a pressed violet tucked into its cover. You feel drawn to one in particular. It's bound in dark green fabric, its corners slightly worn, with no title on the cover. You pull it carefully from the shelf. It gives a soft creak, like it's stretching after a long nap. You open the book, and inside the first page reads, "This book belongs to the quiet hour before dreams." The ink is faded, but the words feel as fresh as morning rain. You gently close the book and glance around the shop once more. It's so still, yet you feel surrounded, not by people, but by voices. The soft voices of pages turning, of stories waiting, of memories stored in the breath between words. There's no hurry, No obligation to read, no deadline, only an invitation to sit down, to rest, to open a page, and let yourself drift. You carry the green-bound book gently to the velvet chair by the fire. It sighs softly as you sit, its cushions warm and welcoming, shaped by the countless readers who've settled there before you. The fire murmurs quietly beside you, its flames dancing in slow motion, casting golden ripples on the bookshelves like reflections on a quiet lake. The tea in your cup is still warm. The air still smells of parchment and peace. You open the book again, and this time you begin to read. It was a small village at the edge of a forest where fog came early and left late, and where every home had a lantern that never fully went out. The villagers whispered stories of the woods, not of fear, but of forgotten things. Old melodies that floated on the wind, and voices that echoed only when no one was speaking. At the heart of the village stood an abandoned observatory. Round, domed and covered in ivy, it had not been used in years, and yet every night a soft light glowed from its highest window. No one knew who lit it. The words float in your mind like smoke curling upward. You turn the page slowly, each sheet whispering its own hush as it flips. Inside the observatory lived an old man with silver spectacles and ink-stained fingers. He spent his days polishing lenses and his nights watching the stars. But he wasn't charting the sky for science, nor was he predicting the weather. He was listening to the stories the stars were telling. You pause. The fire crackles once. The tea is nearly finished. But the warmth it brought remains inside you. You lean further into the story. Outside, the rain continues its song, soft, rhythmic, gentle as breath. The words on the page no longer feel like ink. They feel like thoughts you've had before, but forgotten. Memories from dreams that dissolved with the morning light. One evening, the old man opened his window to the forest. He placed a book on the ledge, one with blank pages and a pen beside it. And then he waited. All night long, the book sat untouched, until just before dawn, when a breeze lifted its cover and the pen began to move on its own. You close the book gently, not because the story is over, but because it doesn't need to end tonight. It's the kind of tale you can carry with you, a whisper that follows you into sleep. You set the book down beside you and gaze into the fire. The room is warm, the bookshop is still, and your eyes grow heavy, not with exhaustion, but with ease. The book rests quietly on your lap, its pages still open to the world it so gently shared. You place your hand over its cover as if to thank it, not with words, but with a silence deeper than sound. The fire beside you crackles a little lower now, its golden flames dwindling into soft embers. The shadows in the room stretch farther, like yawns at the end of a long day. Somewhere a clock chimes once, its tone low, rounded, and content. Not an alarm, just a reminder that time is still passing, but it's in no rush. You glance around the bookshop again, it's still the same, and yet something feels different. Perhaps it's not the bookshop that changed, but you. You rise gently from the velvet chair, careful not to disturb the hush that has settled all around you. As you place the book back on the shelf, right where it waited before, you notice a small note tucked inside its final page. You open it. In delicate handwriting it reads, "This story doesn't end. It only pauses so that you may rest." You smile. There's no need to understand it completely. Its meaning is in its softness, not in its explanation. You wander once more through the quiet aisles. The books don't call out. They simply breathe, as if sleeping themselves, each one dreaming of being opened again by someone who needs what's inside. The rain outside has lightened to a mist, its rhythm so gentle it feels like part of the silence now. You reach the front of the shop, where the shopkeeper, a kind, ageless man with spectacles that shimmer, is quietly arranging a stack of postcards. He looks up, smiles softly, and says only, "Come back any time, the stories always wait." You nod. There's no need for words. You feel it too. He opens the door for you. The bell above it gives one final chime, as if saying good night. The street outside glows with the softest amber light. The rain makes tiny puddles that reflect the flicker of the lanterns. You take a breath of the cool air, a breath full of lavender, ink, and something older. Maybe memory, maybe dreams. You begin to walk home. The sound of your steps is soft, measured, and with each one, your eyes grow heavier and your mind quieter. Tonight, you will sleep like a story being told by candlelight, unfolding slowly, one gentle line at a time.